I mean, right, I'm just going to say our next guest is the woman who identified the remains of King Richard III in the car park in Leicester. I mean, I have so many questions about this. What a fascinating archaeological discovery. Geneticist Professor Turi King is with us now. Talk us through what happened.
Oh, okay. So I got an email way back in 2011 from a man called Richard Buckley, and he's the co-director of the University of Leicester Archaeological Services. And the email is essentially saying, we're going to be looking for the remains of somebody who's quite famous, who's buried in downtown Leicester. He knew I had this unusual background of genetics and archaeology. And he said, we need somebody who can lead on the excavation side of that and who could identify the remains if we find anyone who looks like a likely candidate.
Like a king.
And he says, but I can't tell you who it is. And so I write back going, hang on a second, is this Richard III?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so, and he's like, yes, but we're unlikely to find him. He reckoned it'd be about half a day's commitment of my time, and that was how many years ago now?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so essentially we start excavating. The location of the kind of the precinct of the friary where Richard is supposed to have been buried never been lost, but the precise location of his grave was. So what we're trying to do as archaeologists at this point is, can we find the remains of the friary? We know that Richard is in the choir of the church of the friary in Leicester. And so we start putting long trenches in the hopes that we'll find friary walls, and we'll start to work out where we are. And then maybe we can work out where we are. We can go, oh, okay, so we think the church might be over here type thing. As it was, 6 hours, 34 minutes in, we hit a little bit of leg bone. So this was Matthew Morris, he was our archaeologist on site, and he spots a little bit of leg bone, and he hops into the trench, and he's like, you don't just excavate remains willy-nilly, you have to get a license. We've already got money in the budget to excavate up to 6 sets of remains, so we're gonna make educated decisions about, is this in the right area, all this kind of thing. And you have to make kind of ethical and educated decisions about which ones you're gonna go for. So we leave it covered. There's an articulated skeleton under there, but we don't know where we are. So keep excavating, and we realize after about 2 weeks that actually that skeleton does look like it's down at what is one end of the choir of the church. Let's go and excavate that. And we do, and it's youngish male, battle injuries, severe scoliosis of the spine, and then having to do all the work to prove that it's amazing.
It is one of the most amazing stories. And you've written this book, The Secrets of Our DNA, and to my error on the intro, lots of people obviously aware of the basics, but not of the extraordinary advances in recent years that have transformed the ability for analysis and things that you can do.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, so when I first started in genetics 30 years ago now, it was just us, in the labs, and you publish the papers and barely anyone would read it. Now it's everywhere. It's, health, it's forensics, it's identifying lost kings. It just pervades so much of our society. So it's telling people about that and how genetics works, but through stories, because I found that was the way that I learned about genetics.
You said, was there a particular story that struck you when you were like a little girl being interested in it then?
So it was sitting in a lecture theatre in Cambridge. So I was doing archaeology, and our lecturer was telling us about the Romanov case that she had worked on. So this is Tsar Nicholas, his wife, their 5 children, and members of their household during the Bolshevik Revolution. So they're killed. And their remains are hidden in a forest, and they're lost. And they're found again in the 1990s, and they used a combination of archaeology, so looking at the bones, but also genetics, so DNA fingerprinting to show this was a family, but also there was a piece of DNA that they could use to kind of do a bit of an identification. It's called mitochondrial DNA, inherited through the female line, and Prince Philip was a female line relative of the Tsarina.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he very kindly gave his DNA as part of that identification process, and that was it. I was like, that's what I want to do.
Professor, it's been really fascinating. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
And The Secrets of Our DNA is out now. Professor King there.